Today in the B Block, one day after NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and two leading activist players formally announced the agreement on funding social initiatives, the unemployed quarterback whose initial stand actually didn't stand, but he lit the fuse to those 15 months of controversy in the NFL. He collected another award. Colin Kaepernick was presented with Sports Illustrated's Muhammad Ali Legacy Award.
I accept this award not for myself, but on behalf of the people. Because if it were not for my love for the people, I would not have protested. And if it was not for the support from the people, I would not be on this stage today. With or without the NFL's platform, I will continue to work for the people, because my platform is the people.
That was last night in Brooklyn. The SI Sports Person of the Year show will air on NBCSN on Friday, and then Saturday on Univision Deportes at 8 p.m. Eastern each evening. Let's say hi to Jim Trotter. He, as you well know, has been leading our reporting on the NFL player activism. All right, Anquan Boldin on Outside the Lines on Friday described Colin Kaepernick, yes, is committed, but not involved in these negotiations that we've seen for social funding. So he picks up an award Sunday in Los Angeles, Brooklyn Tuesday. And this is the path he's chosen. And interestingly, he's not even spoken to SI for the award that he gets in print. His activities are described, but he's not even quoted.
Well, Bob, I think what Colin believes is that his actions speak louder than his words at this point. And from folks that I've spoken to around him, there's some concern that if he does speak publicly, his words may be twisted. So he right now is about doing the work. These awards, he deserves them. I mean, he has brought more attention to this issue than any modern day athlete. And so when we say, or as you said, you know, this is the path he has chosen, I think he would say, yes, he has chosen it in terms of addressing these issues, but he has not chosen it in terms of being off of the field. He has said he wants to play, but as you know, no team has signed him, and there's question about whether or not any team will ever sign him.
Yeah, there's the football side. Then there's the social activism side, which has basically come to a head. You've been updating us on this for the last several months. Monday, conference call from the National Football League with Roger Goodell, Malcolm Jenkins, and Anquan Boldin. The commissioner did not remain on the call for questions from journalists, but they did roll out the agreement. And this is, of course, these are the guys who had the negotiations over the course. And Goodell was in the thick of this for several months.
Yeah, you know, the thing that's interesting here, Bob, is that, you know, there were some players who broke away at the last minute, and that forced the coalition to come out and announce this thing quicker than it wanted to. And so the rollout was awkward at best. So Anquan and Malcolm and even Joe Lockhart of the NFL and the commissioner wanted to get on that call and try and get out to the public exactly what they're trying to accomplish here and what exactly is going on. You know, Eric Reed has made some comments about a lack of transparency, but I can tell you from talking to these players and talking to league officials that they say that is not the case at all, that Eric has been on all of those calls, that Malcolm in particular at the end of these calls would always ask, you know, is everyone okay with this? Is there anything we're missing? Is there anything you want to address? And in fact, at the end of this process, you know, Eric Reed had brought up some things that the league actually responded to and changed to sort of placate the players in this situation. So they wanted to get their message out about exactly what they're trying to accomplish here. And in no way are they trying to compete with Colin. I think some folks are trying to put that narrative out there. What they believe is that everyone has work that they can do in this area, and that really they all have the same end goal, which is to address these racial and social inequalities. It's just sad that right now they're not on the same page in terms of how to go about it.
And we repeat our invitation, Eric Reed. We'd love to speak with you. Come aboard and we'll have a dialogue about that. Let's talk about on the field, what has been described by some as a violent week between the hit that drew the one-game suspension for Rob Gronkowski and the Monday Night Football. Jordan Zaloka of the Bengals won his appeal, so only one suspension off the game. What have you been picking up around the league on this? Because there has been, I think revulsion's a fair word, at some of the things we've seen this week.
No, without question, Bob. And I think what was really telling us this morning, it was reported out of Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger was asked about the rivalry between the Ravens and the rivalry between the Bengals and how they're different. And Roethlisberger said in that Bengals game, it was just like they were out there to hit someone. Whereas with the Ravens, there is a sense of respect in that. And so I think ultimately that's what it comes down to here, is how much do the players respect each other? Because really they have to be the protectors of each other's when you're on that field. From a league standpoint, the problem here is a lack of consistency in terms of imposing discipline. You know, I remember back in the day when the league really started to crack down on defenseless receivers. And the two big hitters at that time were Rodney Harrison and Adrian Wilson, and they were fining them. And neither of these players were changing their games. And finally, when I said to them, what led you to change? Each said, being taken off of the field because that hurt teammates.
Penalties make a difference. Penalties in every sense. Jim Trotter, appreciate your time as always.